Hey, what's up guys? Little man with a big opinion here. Today's video is going to be my first Prepping 101 class video. Today's video, I've broke down all of the numbers for setting up a 1 month supply of food. I've done a simple version and a more complex version for this. So before we get into that, I would like to mention, if the camera doesn't want to fall over. All right. I would like to mention two things. First, I have started a Teespring store. I've got one shirt on there. If it's something you're interested in, I'll put a link in the description down below. It's just one way to help out the channel. The second thing I'd like to mention is if you yourself find any of the information useful in this video, then please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. If you have a friend or family member that likes the way that I'm breaking this down Barney style for you, and you think the information in this video would be helpful to them, then please share the video. It gets the word out even faster. And without further ado, let's get into the numbers. So, a 1 month supply of food will be either or in between 60,000 and 90,000 calories per person. I only wrote down the numbers on here for one person. So if you have a family of 4, you're looking at 240,000 to 360,000 calories. Family of 5, you times it by 5, it's only 2 people. And I'm sticking to these two numbers because this is the 2,000 calories a day. This is more on the side of you're bugging in. Maybe it's just a natural disaster, so you're not really having to overly exert yourself or anything. This number is more of the, the grid goes down for weeks or up to a month at a time. Maybe you're working a farm, taking care of livestock. You've got people doing, patrols and stuff. And the 90,000 calories is just going to adapt to a physical workload outside of our normal society. I myself err on the side of 90,000 calories. Even though some of the people that I prep for are older and younger. So, if they're under the age of 10, they're probably not going to eat 3,000 calories a day. If they're over the age of, let's say, 50 or 60, they're probably not going to eat 3,000 calories a day. But if they're not eating that many calories, but you prep for that, then your storage will last a little bit longer. So the first simple version, and I recommend every single person go out and do this, is just the simple rice and beans. You get most of your proteins and carbs and micro and macronutrients that you need from the rice and beans. Now, you'd probably get sick and tired of it after 1 month supply, but the very simple, price is 1 month for one person will cost you between $26 and $37. So it's not an extremely expensive amount of food to put away. Now, numbers that I don't have included in this is properly storing it inside of mason jars, mylar bags or buckets, oxygen absorbers. But what you can do if you don't have the funds to store it that way, you can go ahead and stick your rice or beans inside of your freezer for anywhere from 3 to 5 days or up to a week. And what that'll do is it'll kill off any of the eggs from insects or anything that is on the food as it's packaged and shipped to the store and then comes to your house. And that will significantly extend the life of that food. The whole point of putting it inside mason jars or Mylar bags with an oxygen absorber is that's one other way of dealing with the bug problem is you remove the oxygen that allows those bugs to hatch and grow. If you've got the funds and the time, I do the freeze method and the O2 and Mylar bag slash mason jar method because you're doubling down on removing bugs from the equation. But we're breaking down even further. 1 pound of dried uncooked rice is 1,655 calories, and beans is 1,572 calories. That means you're going to need 18.12 pounds of rice for the 2,000 calories and 19 for the beans. For 3,000, you're going to need 27 pounds. And for the beans, you're going to need 28.62. The total weight is going to be between 37 pounds for the 60,000 and 55 pounds for the 90,000. So between those two items, you're roughly eating a pound to a pound and a half of rice and beans per day. You can divide that up amongst 2 or 3 meals, however you like it. As long as you're getting those calories in, you're getting most of the protein and carbs that your body needs to, on the lower end, maintain your body weight. On the higher end, maintain your muscles and promote a fast and safe, healing process. Because if you're constantly exerting your muscles, but you're not getting the calories intake that you need, you will lose muscle mass. You will stay fatigued, and you will feel sore, and it's just not a good thing. Now, like I said, these are generic numbers. If you're someone that works out, twice a day, and you're technically burning, 3,300 calories, then adjust it to that. If you're someone that, maybe you just graduated high school and you have maintained your body weight eating 1,500, 1,800 calories a day, then prep for that. The 2,000 a day is just the generic average from the U.S. government, and the 3,000 is a nice solid number to shoot for if you are working or exercising or doing things in a grid down scenario that would increase your caloric intake. Now, to add more of a variety to your diet, and when I say variety, I did my best to split it into 20% for each of these. Is we have rice, beans, oats, meats, and fruits. I didn't go all the way into, I want apples, pears, grapes, oranges. That's something that you can do individually on your own. And then I kept the same rice and beans. For the beans, we're doing pinto. For the rice, we're doing long grain white rice. For the meats, I did corned beef, mainly because it is a very simple recipe. It has 4 ingredients, I believe: water, beef, corn, and salt. Maybe a little bit of sugar, but a simple corned beef will last anywhere from 5 to 10 years inside of the can, and that's why I picked that. And for the fruits, I just went with a generic bag of dried or dehydrated fruits. It was a 32-ounce bag. I think it had 5 different kind of fruits in the bag. And the caveat with that is for the fruit to last the longest, up to 25 years, you really want to store it in a airtight environment like a Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber. because while a lot of the moisture was removed from those fruits, they still do have a fairly high moisture content. So, starting from the top for the rice, breaking it down this way, it'll be 12,000 calories for the 2,000 calories a day, or 60,000 calories for a month, or it'll be 18,000 calories for the 90,000. So in this scenario, we are going to have 7.2 to 10.8 pounds of rice. For the beans, I just did the simplified version of 18,000, 7.6 to 11.4 pounds. For the oats, I was actually really surprised that dried oats per pound had more calories in it than rice or beans, sitting at 1,765. For the oats, they need to be steel cut or rolled oats. And you can get those in, a pretty good, I think it's a 2 pound container at Walmart, or they do get bigger going to the Sam's or your big box stores. But for oats, you're going to need 6.8 to 10.1 pounds. And then for the meats, it was 420 calories per can of the corn to beef, which comes out to 29 cans to 42 cans. Now, that being said, you can smoke fish, you can dehydrate beef into a jerky, you can make salt pork, bacon has extremely high salt content. There are a ton of options for the meat category, and that honestly probably could have been its own video, because there are plenty of ways to preserve meat. And if we want to get technical, if you're freeze drying it, then almost anything out there can be stored long term. Most everything on this list can be stored long term in a very simple and cheap manner without having to buy extremely fancy stuff or put a lot more money into it. But like I said, I already briefly mentioned the fruit. It was $11 for a 32-ounce bag, and it had 2,300 calories in each bag. You got to remember, when you freeze or when you make fruit dehydrated or dried fruit, you're removing 70, 80, 90% of the water content from that fruit. So, imagine a grape, if you will. They're decent size and they can get even bigger. But raisins are much smaller because a lot of a grape is fruit. So you're actually getting more bang for your buck on the dried fruit side, because while it is a 32 ounce or 2 pound bag, you're really getting upwards of 5, 6, 8 pounds worth of fruit just in a dehydrated manner. So for that, you're looking at 6 to 8 bags. And in this increased stage, I didn't break down the monetary values of it. But for this one, it's kind of simple: $66 to $88. The canned beef was about $4 a can. So we're looking at 120 to 200 for the meat. These guys are about $2 or $3 a container. So we're looking at 18 to 20 for this. And then the rice, the 10-pound bag was $4.60. And for the beans, an 8-pound bag was about $10. So the price goes up substantially in these two categories. Matter of fact, I'm going to add it up and put it on the board for you. All right, so looking at about $325 on the high end give or take for your area, give or take, for the fact that an 8-pound bag of beans is about $10. And so we need to either buy two of those or a couple of four or something along those lines. This comes in 1, 5, 10, 20, and 50. And the 10-pound was $4.60. So we're a little over the 10-pound mark. So we can push it as high as $350, but we're just slightly over $10 a day per person to drastically increase the amount of food options for what we're eating. And there's nothing stopping you from exchanging this fruit for something else. I didn't do the math on buying fruit and then dehydrating it yourself, but it's probably cheaper. The meats, corned beef was just the one option for that I picked. And then these three are pretty generic prepper foods that the biggest thing is everything on this list, if stored properly and correctly, will have a guaranteed shelf life of 10 years, and a lot of people push it to the 25 years because several options of this food have been found. One bit of food was found in the shipwreck of, I don't remember the name of the ship, but it was going up the Mississippi and it sank in the 1860s. And in the 1970s or 80s, most of the food was still edible. They found honey and rice inside the Egyptian tombs that was still edible and safe for us to consume. And most of these items, if stored properly, you're going to get 25 years worth of shelf life out of them at a minimum. We say at a minimum because we haven't really, in our modern era, studied the maximum shelf life of some of this stuff. But you have a wide variety for roughly $10 a day. In my humble opinion, I would definitely do the rice and beans, get anywhere from 1 to 6 months of that up front and out of the way, because you're looking at $37 on the high end. 6 months, you're looking at, let's round it up to 40. We're looking at $240 to guarantee you will get the calories needed for half of a year. And then you can start, messing with this high end, mixing in fruits, meats, different vegetables. This list doesn't talk about salt, sugar, honey, coffee, any of the other items that, if stored correctly, can last, 10, 20, 30 years. And this is just a basic outline that you can look at the numbers on this list and say, I can manage that. One big thing about prepping is, thinking that you'll never have enough. But if you can't fathom or can't come up with spending $37 to create a 1 month's food supply, then maybe prepping isn't your biggest, concern. If you've got the disposable income, start with this up here, get the calories you need, and then work into more options throughout this. And in the next video, I'll go into other food items, different spices, different, condiments and stuff like that. But with all that being said, I hope you found this video informative. If you did, please like and subscribe, and share it with a friend or family member that would benefit from the information that I shared with you in this video. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.